Now, let us briefly discuss about the characteristics of marriage. The first one is universality. Marriage is more or less universal social institution. It is found among the pre-literate as well as literate people. It is enforced as a social rule in some of the societies. Then marriage denotes the relationship between man and woman. Marriage is a union of man and woman. It indicates relationship between one or more men to one or more women. This is second characteristic. And third is marriage bond is enduring. Marriage indicates a long lasting bond between husband and wife. Hence, it is not coextensive with sex life. It excludes relationships uh, with prostitutes or any other sexual relationship which is viewed as casual and not sanctioned by custom, law, or church. That means the sexual relationship between the men and women outside the framework of marital bond is not considered as a marriage. The marital bond is always recognized by certain customs or law or certain religious institution like a church. So, marital relationship between man and woman lasts even after the sexual satisfaction is obtained. So, that means marriage is not just related to the sexual satisfaction uh, for men and women. It is beyond that. The marriage imposes certain mutual obligations and responsibilities both on wife and husband. So, the Hindus, for example, believe that marriage is a sacred bond between husband and wife, which even the death cannot break. Then, marriage requires social approval. A union of man and woman becomes a marital bond only when the society gives approval. That means the approval of the society is must to recognize a social bond between a man and woman. When marriage is given the hallmark of social approval, it becomes legal contract. That means the marital bond invariably requires a social approval as well as the legal approval. That means once a man and woman get the social approval, automatically they will get the legal approval. Then marriage is associated with some civil or religious ceremony. Marriage gets its social recognition through some ceremony. This ceremony may have its own rites, rituals, customs, formalities, etc. So, this is again very important point. Then it means marriage has to be concluded in a public and solemn manner. Sometimes it receives a sacrament, the blessings of religion. Marriage among the Hindus, for example, is regarded as a sacrament. That means the marriage denotes a sacred bond between a man and woman. It is connected with rituals such as Homa, Saptapadi, Panigrahana, Mangalya Dharana, etc. Then marriage creates mutual obligations. Marriage imposes certain rights and duties on both husband and wife. Both are required to support each other and their children. So, these are the six important characteristics of marriage from sociological point of view. Now, let us briefly discuss about the functions of marriage. The importance of marriage consists in the functions that it performs. The main functions of marriage can be discussed like this. First one is the main function of the marriage is regulation of sex life. Marriage is the powerful instrument of regulating the sex life of sex life between man and woman. Uh, so therefore, in any given society, the sexual relationship or biological relationship between a man and woman is not permissible outside the framework of marriage. So, therefore, the main function of the marriage is to regulate and control the sexual life of man and woman. Then, marriage leads to the establishment of the family. Sexual satisfaction offered by marriage results in self perpetuation. It means marriage insists on the couple to establish a family of procreation. That means marriage not only denotes the biological relationship between the man and woman, but it also uh, uh, says that through marriage, the married couple establish their family and they procreate the children. And it is here the children are born and bred up. It is the marriage which determines the descent of the newborn individual. Inheritance and succession follow the rule of descent. So, these points are very important since the marriage leads to the establishment of the family. Then, next point is marriage provides for economic cooperation. Marriage makes division of labor possible on the basis of sex. Patrons of marriage distribute and divide work among themselves and perform them. In some of the primitive tribes, we find a clear cut division of work between the husband and wife. Even in rural areas, especially in agricultural families, the work is divided between the male and female, more specifically between the wife and husband. Even in the modern industrial societies, we find husband and wife working outside the family to get more income to elevate their economic status. So, therefore, marriage uh, as a social institution contribute for economic cooperation in the family, more specifically between the wife and husband. Then marriage contributes to emotional and interstimulation of the partners. Marriage brings the life partners together and helps them to develop intense love and affection towards each other. It deepens emotions and strengthens the companionship between the two. It also helps them to develop intellectual cooperation between them. Then another function is marriage aims at social solidarity. Marriage not only brings two individuals of the opposite sex together, but also their respective families, groups, and kindred. That means marriage means it's not just a relationship between a man and woman, but it also established the relationship between two families or two groups. Then friendship between groups is reinforced through marriage. It is often suggested that by encouraging marriage between different groups, like the marriage between different caste groups, races, classes, religious, linguistic, and other communities, it is possible to minimize the social distance between groups and strengthen their solidarity. That means marriage can bring the people belonging to different racial groups, religious groups, or caste groups, or linguistic groups together. And wherever the intercaste marriages or interreligious marriages takes place, that lead to the social solidarity, social integration in the society.